You know, I love podcasting. I have since 2006, back when you had to use like a Dixie cup with string to make the thing work. And that's why I'm so excited that we recently moved Mysterious Goings On to Anchor FM to record our podcast. I gotta tell you, I don't regret it a bit. If you haven't heard about Anchor, it's the easiest way to make a podcast. Let me explain. First of all, it's free. There's creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or computer. Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so it can be heard on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and many more. And you can make money from your podcast with no minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. Not going to lie to you, when I first heard about Anchor, I was a little dubious because I've been doing it the hard way for so long. But I got to tell you, it's very easy. Use a Stripe account. Get sponsors. You're not paying monthly hosting fees. The sound quality is great. The distribution is phenomenal. Friends, download the free Anchor app today if you want to start your own podcast, or go to anchor.fm to get started. Remember, you heard it here first on Mysterious Goings On. Welcome back to Mysterious Goings On. I'm Alex Greenwood. Welcome to Season 6. Can you believe it? This is Season 6 of Mysterious Goings On, and I can't tell you how both surprised and elated I am to still be doing this show. Now, we haven't actually done 6 years of the show, just to be fair. It's been 6 seasons. We had kind of a truncated middle season, I believe, 3 or 4. Season 3 or 4 due to a lot of reasons. But I went ahead and broke it up and trying to just focus on going forward, having about 20 episodes per season and calling a break after every 20 episodes or so. I think that sounds about right. That 20 episodes is still more episodes than HBO does in most of their series these days, like by a mile. So I think that's fair. I had a good break, got a lot of rest in. I took a break from this show and, of course, my sister show, PR After Hours, which is more of a business and public relations related show. But it was good to take a break. I've had so many incredibly interesting and fun guests on both shows. Mysterious Goings On, of course, we were spoiled in season 5 with some incredible writers and other guests talking about creativity. But I mean, having a New York Times bestseller, having authors from everywhere from Italy to Scotland to Brazil to Canada, United States. I mean, it was just, I was just spoiled. And I had such great conversations. At least it was for me with all of those folks. And I enjoyed so much sharing it with you. And of course, our download numbers have improved greatly due to, I think, this new focus on making sure we're discussing the roots of creativity and talking to writers and authors and people who write the things that readers love, and I don't see any reason to change that up too much coming in here to season 6. And so, just to tell you, season 6 is shaping up to be very similar in that focus. We are definitely already booking people to talk about creativity in different walks of life. You're going to be surprised at a couple of these, I think, but bear with us. And remember, no matter what you read in the show notes before you listen, you think, oh, I don't know if that's something I care about. A restaurant guy talking about food service products, that happens to be one of our top downloaded episodes from last season. I mean, so you just never know what you're going to get. It's that old Forrest Gump, life like a box of chocolates thing. But Mysterious Goings On will continue to be a going concern. A couple of things I want to clear up here about what we're going to do, though. I think this season will definitely, of course, keep this going. We're going to talk to a few more of the indie folks. We've had a lot of people who have been very successful, mid-listers all the way up to New York Times bestsellers, and we're going to, of course, feature those folks this season as best we can. But I also don't want to lose track of our roots, and that was interesting when we had Alessandra Torre on, who's a 6-time New York Times bestseller, but she started as an indie, and it was important to me to share that journey with you because a lot of the folks who listen to this show are independently published authors or people who want to be writers and who have a desire to make it a career beyond just a hobby. And I wanted to always illustrate when people like Alessandra, who beat the odds and do great work and work their butts off and make it. But I also still want to go back and not lose our roots and talk about the journey. So that's why I'm excited to tell you that this season we'll be talking to some indies who are, struggling, maybe not the right word, but, working hard to eke out a living and to build a following. And we're going to talk about their journey. And, it's interesting. We'll talk to people who, they're not at the point where they have, really polished stuff yet, but they're dedicated. I'm not going to spend time interviewing people who are just got a bucket list. Oh, I want to write a novel and it's easy to do now. Tick that box, move on. I'm not going to do that. I want to talk to people who are serious about the craft, but maybe not necessarily hitting those success markers that we all look towards as far as sales or critical acclaim. But anyway, so we're going to have some of that. And again, as I said, we're going to also talk to people from other walks of life who aren't necessarily writers and see what they do in their personal and business lives and career lives to employ creativity in a way that not only gives them success in their career, but also provides some fulfillment. So I'm looking forward to doing that this season. So the other thing, though, is I will tell you this. We really hit it hard, and we hit it every week last season. There may be a few gap weeks here, and I'll tell you what, I probably won't even tell you. I'll just tell you this. We'll probably be going, I will shoot for weekly, but with the understanding that it may be twice a month instead of every week on this season. But I'll still intend to do 20 episodes in the season, but it just may not be every week, week after week. And I'll tell you why. I have one more book to go here in this John Pilate Mysteries that I've really promised the fans. There's no guarantees beyond this next book, but I have promised it to our small but loyal cadre of fans that they would have it. I almost always say it'll be out by Halloween. Well, we're looking at September 3rd as I record this. That might be a bit of a tough ask, but I promise you will have it by Christmas. And I'm not going to lie, I have had some difficulties. It's interesting. COVID has been hard on everyone. I've been locked down 90% of the time since March. I rarely go out, rarely do anything. I've done a few very safe, but risky all the same things. Even did some camping. But point being, even when I've been home, I've had a difficult time with my usual output. It's just been it's been tougher going for me. And part of it just may well be that, hate to say it, pilot fatigue. Maybe it's, a point where John Pilate and everybody need to take a long rest. That may be what's going to happen. But I'm excited about it, and I've got some stuff going, but I'm just having a hard time maintaining my usual output. But that's okay. Well, if it takes longer, it takes longer. I don't want to put out something that's half-baked. I want it to be something good. But the reason, too, is beyond trying to rebuild my business that was pretty well decimated, my day job because of COVID, beyond that, I just want to focus on doing some other stuff beyond John Pilate. I believe I have some good ideas for short stories, collections, and I think I have a good idea for a different kind of novel. But I'm one of those people where I've got to kind of clear the deck in front of me before I can proceed. Some people can do 2 or 3 projects at once. I'm not blessed with that ability. Some people who've been on this show can write very quickly and write very well. And those days for me are, if they're not over, they sure seem like it. So I'm not making excuses. I'm just telling you how it is. But if you're listening to this show, there's a good chance you read my work, and I so appreciate it. But the other thing, too, is sales have definitely tailed off for the series. And that's probably a good indicator that, to paraphrase what Doug Skelton said, the Scottish author, when I asked him about his favorite series, he got 2 books in, and I said, but don't you want to write more? He says, of course I do, but they don't sell. I thought, well, there you go. But that's the difference between me, I'm not a hobbyist necessarily, but writing is not my full-time job, whereas that is his. So, but I think there's something to be said for me to approach it a little more in a commercial way. Because if I'm either serious about writing or, it's a side hobby. And I don't really want to relegate it to a side hobby because I enjoy writing so darn much. But it's just been weird times. And I know you understand, or if you don't understand, at least you're empathetic enough to walk with me on this journey, even if it takes a little longer. That said, I feel I owe it to you, the listeners who are fans, to share a little bit from the new book. Now, I fully believe in Stephen King's admonition is when you're writing the first draft, you write with the door closed. You don't talk about the book. You don't share much about it. You just write it. And I'm very close to being done with the first draft. And I thought, and this could change, but I thought I'd share a little reading from the new book, which by the way, only 2 or 3 people know the title. And as you know, I don't tell the title until the book is ready to go out. But book 8, we'll just say and it's not Pilate's 8, by the way. We've already done Pilate's 7, but it's book 8 in the series. I thought maybe you would enjoy if I shared a little taste. So here we go. I'm going to share a little taste with you, and then I'll be back at the end to wrap things up for this episode, and we'll talk to you on that side. Kingston Foley raised a hand in the air, palm facing out, motioning in a seeming benediction, left, center, and right, his chunky gold bracelet catching the light. Is there anyone here who does not have a relationship with the Lord? His other hand grasped a gold-colored microphone, his eyes clenched tight as if he were passing a righteous stone right there on the ermine-carpeted stage at the Cross Township Church of the Redeemer. Behind Foley, a heavy-set man in a western-cut shirt with pearl snaps hit a solemn note on his keyboard, bathing the sanctuary in a soft dirge of expectation. My friends, this church is filled. There is not a single empty seat, Foley crooned into the gold mic. I know, and you know, that not everyone here is right with the Lord. I am offering you, he paused, inhaling deeply, then opening his eyes and exhaling, the mystical redeeming grace of the Holy Ghost. The organ volume moved up a notch or two. I am offering you the stern paternal love that only the Father can give. And I am most importantly offering you the loving embrace of the Son, Jesus Christ. A man appeared from the wings of the dais to the right of the keyboard, sliding into the strap of an acoustic guitar. He strummed a complimentary note. Foley's hand fell to his side, the bracelet sliding down his wrist as he scanned the room. Friends, we have only to accept that which we know we so richly deserve. Profess your faith. A murmur from the crowd interrupted his thought. A woman, looking to be in her early 20s, wearing torn jeans and a tank top that accented thin, colorfully tattooed arms. Her long blonde hair was thick and shiny. She walked haltingly down the left aisle, her eyes down, one hand clutching the strap of a flower-patterned handbag. Foley smiled, raising his hands in an open palm gesture of welcome as the organ broke into a faster tempo, a lighter key with the guitar player adding flourishes. Come on up, child, and receive the love of the Lord. Foley turned to place the microphone in its stand beside the lectern and whirled back to the woman as she moved up the steps to mount the altar. Child of God, what is your name? She looked at the floor a moment, then into Foley's eyes. Jezebel. In a fluid motion, she dropped the bag from her shoulder as her right hand dove into it. The bag hit the floor, revealing in her hand a small pistol pointed at Foley. No, child, Foley exclaimed as the gun went off. The wide-eyed keyboardist dropped behind his instrument, his hands playing foul notes as they dragged across the keys. The guitar player ducked, hugging his instrument with a yelp. The congregation erupted as 2 more shots exploded into Foley. The big man suddenly diminished, crumpled to the floor, eyes wide open, mouth working wordlessly in prayer. Pilate has washed his hands of you, you false prophet, the woman shouted as she whirled, pointing the gun at a man and a woman from the congregation, tentatively closing in on her. Whether they were trying to help Foley or disarm her, she was having none of it. Back off, she shouted, then fired a shot into the ceiling. John Pilate prophesied the return of dead Jack. He gave me the list of Pharisees, starting with this con artist. She fired again at the stricken Foley, the bullet missing him and throwing up a tuft of carpet. Pilate made the list. I will make it right, she shouted again as she waved the gun around, her arm trembling as if the pistol was suddenly heavy. The crowd shrieked and dropped to their knees as the woman pelted past the people lying on their bellies and crouching in the aisle. In seconds, she crossed the door of the sanctuary, then ran into the night. Well, I hope that reading was not too painful to listen to, and I hope it whetted your appetite for the new book. It's coming along nicely, and I look forward, as I said earlier, to getting it to you before the holiday season. We'll make a great Christmas gift. Anyway, thanks so much for joining us here for Season 6. We'll be back very soon with a new episode. Best way is to never miss one, of course, is to subscribe on Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen to your pods. Just subscribe to Mysterious Goings On, and that way you never miss an episode. It just boop, drops right into your feed when a new episode is released. The other thing is, of course, you can subscribe to mgopod.com. Go there and scroll down and get on the contact list, and you'll be notified every time we post something there, which is not often. It's just every time we have an episode, occasional special message. No biggie. mgopod.com. Please sign up there. And, of course, if you can support the show, there are links to donate to the show to help keep it going. I could sure use some help with my hosting fees, etc. So if you want to do that, that'd be great. And, of course, one of the best things you can do is go buy my books on Amazon.com, or you can get autographed copies through mgopod.com. If you want an autographed paperback, I can do that. Also, great Christmas gifts for the holiday season coming up. I'll be laying in an order from the printer for copies of every book, hopefully. There'll be plenty of people willing to buy them or interested in buying them. So again, mgopod.com, that's the home base. You can sign up there and, of course, subscribe wherever you get your podcast to Mysterious Goings On. Well, again, welcome to Season 6. I hope it's a fun one for you, and I, again, appreciate all you do to support the show. And, of course, a review on Amazon. I keep saying Amazon. Now, a review on Amazon for the books would be great, but a review for the podcast on Apple Podcasts in particular, a 5-star review with a couple of words saying, love this show, listen to it if you're into reading and writing and thrillers, etc. That'd be so great. All right, I'll stop yakking at you, and we'll talk to you next time. Until then, keep reading.
It's a great time to get a great deal on a new car when you get approved for an auto loan from PenFed. Our Powered by True Car rates are as low as 1.39% APR on new vehicles. Finance for a longer term to lower your monthly bill. Plus, take up to 60 days to schedule your first payment. Join PenFed, and together we'll keep you moving forward. Anyone can apply. Visit penfed.org/auto or call 1-800-247-5626. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed, insured by NCUA. Get a credit card that gives you what you need now. A low interest rate on everyday purchases and a place to transfer high interest rate balances. The PenFed Gold Contactless Card is our lowest interest rate credit card. You can even earn a $100 statement credit when you spend $1,500 in the first 90 days. Join PenFed, and together we can help you keep more of what's yours. Visit penfed.org/goldcard. To receive any advertised product, you must become a member of PenFed, insured by NCUA.